Gary Spencer Millidge has been a professional comic writer, artist, letterer and designer for 25 years. He probably doesn't appreciate me reminding him that. He was responsible for editing 1985's Food for Thought charity comic for Ethiopia, and has self-published his Strange Haven comic series for 16 years now. He's the author of 4 books, including Draw Fantasy Figures, Draw Dragons and Other Fantasy Beasts, Comic Book Design, which is that one, and the one that we're going to be talking about today, which is Alan Moore Storyteller. That one there. So I guess I'll start with probably the most obvious question, is how did the book come about? I mean, this isn't your... Well, I've got 2 questions, but how did the book sort of come about?
Well, I was approached by Alex Press to write a book about Alan Moore. It's pretty simple, really. I'd done comic book design for them previously, and they were obviously aware of another book I did called Alan Moore, Portrait of an Extraordinary Gentleman. Don't know if any of you have seen that, have you? Can you have a show of hands, please?
Yep. Oh, there you go.
So it's nearly half of you. That was a charity book I kind of got drawn into. I was asked to co-publish or publish an English language edition of an Italian book, which was a tribute to Alan Moore's 50th birthday, and I ended up writing and doing a kind of collage comic strip of Alan Moore's life as an introduction to the book, which grew from a proposed 32-page comic into a 320-page book with 145 contributors from all over the world. So I kind of inadvertently became kind of a nexus for Alan Moore creators and fans through that book. And obviously during the research of the comic strip I did for that, I learned a lot about the man. I'd already known Alan from...
How long had you known Alan?
Yeah, I'd met Alan a couple of times in the early 80s when there was something called the Westminster Comic Marts. Did anyone attend those? One.
One at the back.
There was people like Brian Bolland and Dave Gibbons and Eddie Campbell, the Fast Fiction table, which which was kind of like the whole of the top floor of the other hotel. You know, like all the fanzines all on one table in this big comic mart, and everyone used to congregate around the Fast Fiction table and go to the local pub. Alan was one of those, and I was one of those. That's when I put together the Food for Thought magazine, which was in 1985. So I had some contacts through Alan with that. He contributed a strip for that. He was. I also used to publish something called Comic News Monthly, which ran for about a year. Again in the mid-80s, and Alan wrote a couple of letters for that, so we corresponded. More recently, since it's been published by Top Shelf, who's owned by my good friend Chris Staros. Chris, some will know Chris from having a table here for the first 10 years of the Bristol Convention. He'd fly over every year, and we'd drive up together and see Alan and spend a day with him. So obviously I've got to know Alan quite well through that. So I think all those reasons. I mean, I'm sure there's probably 10, 20 other people that could have written a book like this about Alan, but I was in the right place at the right time to be asked to do that, I think.